Good morning. I'm out for another one of my walks. Scout was not up and interested in walking this morning, so it's just me. I'm out walking on the golf course that's near my house. You may hear a few clicks in the background, depending on how the sunset or sunrise turns out here. But I wanted to this morning was reflecting upon Psalm 90. I ask you to first of all take a few moments, and read the psalm. One of the things that's important is not only to hear it, but also to see it. And statistics are accurate on this. Um, a lot of church going folk don't often open their Bibles. So, in the coming weeks, as I go through these, I'm actually going to be doing more of encouraging you to read the psalm before we get to the reflections. Um, so, if you just take a few moments, pause this, go read the psalm, Psalm 90, and then come back. All right, welcome back. So Psalm 90, I felt like kind of like Psalm 89 that there's just like this um, sense of lamenting um, through a lot of it. But what really grabbed me was that last verse. This prayer of, "O Lord, prosper the work of our hands." On the screen, you're gonna be seeing pictures of hands that I've taken. There's one in particular that I'll have as the final one of those I want to tell you a story about. In a previous congregation that I served, I got a call from a gentleman in the congregation whose wife of almost 70 years at that time was in hospice care. And he asked if I could come by and see them that day. And I said, sure, absolutely. So headed over there, and I knocked on the door and heard him invite me in. And when I went back to the room, kind of the sunroom area where they'd set up her hospital bed, where hospice had set that up, there they were, holding hands. And we talked for a few minutes, and at no point did their hands separate. And I kind of made a comment about that. I said, I see, you know, just love the fact that y'all are still holding hands. And he said, you know, we've been holding hands for almost 70 years. He said, I know I don't have much more time to do that. And I remembered that I had my camera in the car, and I asked him if I could take a picture of their hands. And he said, absolutely. So I ran out to the car and got my camera, and I took this picture that you'll see again. It's the final one that will be in this video. And that started something for me. That was like the first hands picture that I took. And since that time, I've taken a lot of pictures of people's hands, sometimes in situations similar to that one that I just told you, and others at other times. People who were doing some kind of service or work together, people who were eating together, people who were singing together. Some of the pictures were more artistic than others. Some were sharp, some were blurry. But to me, there's something about our hands. And I shared in one of these videos a couple weeks ago about the banner that's in our congregation, in our sanctuary, that God has no hands but yours, but ours. And we God has given us these hands to be about the work of God in the world. We are Jesus' hands and Jesus' feet. We are Jesus' arms in the world. Just when you think about how much your hands do every single day, like amazing things that we have. And the thing is no matter how young we are, no matter how old we are, no matter how strong our hands are, no matter how weak our hands are, no matter whether our hands can do everything we want them to do or whether our hands are racked with arthritis or whatever it might be, our hands are still to be used for the work of God's kingdom. In this prayer, at the end, oh Lord, prosper the work of our hands. There's an assumption made there. There's an assumption made that we are using our hands to do work. Our hands aren't just passive things waiting for God to do something through them, but instead we are using our hands for the work of Jesus in the world. And so that might be like I was doing yesterday as I was serving at Brighton Center and delivering food and supplies to families in Newport and Covington and Wilder. Or it might be you writing a letter to somebody who's lonely. It might be you putting something, sewing a prayer blanket or a prayer shawl. It might be just simply clasping your hands in prayer. All of those are the work of God. So I want to close with the poet's words for today, for Psalm 90, written by Katie Mulligan. It's called Making Trouble. 70 or 80 years to make trouble. Perhaps I only have 47. My mother was sure she'd be dead by 40. She's now 76. She's astounded every day. 70 or 80 years to cause trouble. Lately, I'm sure I am dying. Preserve my life, oh God. Do you know how much trouble I could create with just 3 more years? I promise you. Almighty creature of nothingness and everything. Give me 3 more years, and I will make you laugh. Deep belly laughter that cannot be stopped, bubbling over into the world, disrupting, confusing laughter. I will make the Almighty chortle with glee. Who knows what might happen at the whim of an entertained God? 3 more years, oh God. 3 years. What is that to you, anyway? I love the mischievousness of that. That our hands are about making a little bit of trouble, stirring things up, because that is what the kingdom of God does. So whatever your hands can do today, let them be hands that maybe make a little bit of trouble. And in doing so, fulfilling this prayer, Lord, prosper the work of our hands. Grace and peace be with you.